The American Revolution Bicentennial Commission was authorized by a joint resolution of Congress to prepare an overall program for commemorating the 200th anniversary of the United States. The Commission was asked to plan, encourage, develop, and coordinate observances and activities commemorating the historic events that preceded and are associated with the American Revolution. It will give special emphasis to the ideas associated with the Revolution and its implication for future generations. The Commission itself is composed of 17 public members appointed by the President, 8 congressional members, 4 each from the House and Senate, and 11 members who are secretaries of various federal agencies. The Commission's charter is broad. Its responsibility is great. The Bicentennial is to be more than a ceremonial occasion. The way we as a nation choose to celebrate the 200th anniversary will have an important bearing on what we learn from it and on the inspiration we draw from it. The Bicentennial Commission plans to emphasize the continuing effort to achieve the fulfillment of the ideals and ideas of the Revolution as stated in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, to inventory the progress of the last 2 centuries and to state the unattained goals, new and old. Some of this work will be solemn. Some will be festive, because the 200th birthday of our country should be at once a joyous celebration and a solemn rededication. Members of the American Revolution Bicentennial Commission and representatives of various states gathered at the White House at the invitation of President Nixon. They heard him charge them with the responsibility to not just move forward in reaching for material goals, but to move forward also in the realm of the American spirit as we enter Century 3 of American life. The President said,
"As all of you know, we're gathered in this historic house for an opportunity that comes to a people once in a century, the celebration of the 200th anniversary of the United States, which will take place in 1976. And we are starting to plan now. We have representatives not only from the federal government, but from most of the states of the nation here to plan that celebration. I would like to speak to that subject very briefly, to speak to it in perhaps a way that most of you would not have thought of, because traditionally when we think of this kind of a celebration, we think of the nation's past and we glory in that past, as we should. We think of the nation's present and we consider the problems that we must deal with. This celebration, I would hope, would look to America's future, look to the year 1976, and set for ourselves goals for that year 1976, which we can achieve. In the space of 7 years, we can achieve great goals so that when 1976 comes, we can look back over those 200 years with even greater pride than we did 100 years ago. Could I refer to the early days of this country, to the time that this nation was founded, and to the words that were spoken by those who at the time of the Declaration of Independence thought of the mission of America, what America could mean to the world. And one of them said that we act not just for ourselves, but for all mankind. You know, we hear that today and we think that was perhaps a very appropriate statement to make, because history has justified that kind of optimism. Now, in setting forth goals, I can tell you that this administration is thinking in terms that are tremendously exciting. In the field of hunger, it will be possible by the year 1976 to abolish hunger in the United States of America. It will be possible in the year 1976 to make enormous progress in the field of housing, in the field of transportation, in all of these areas that are tremendously important to every American family, and that also are admired and respected around the world. And so, to those who come from the states and those here from the federal government, let us set for our goal in 1976, not just moving forward in all these material areas, but to move forward in the realm of the American spirit. I know this sounds perhaps too illusory, too uncertain for us possibly to capture, but it is there. We must put our minds to it, we must put our hearts to it, and that brings me now to those from the states. America is 50 states. America is big cities and small towns. It's all the homes and all the hopes of 200 million people. And that's why we want this celebration to be national. It must go directly to the people and derive its strength from the people. And we want people all over this land to sense the greatness of this moment, to participate in it, to help us all to discover what that great spirit is. And so I would charge this commission to move forward. Move forward, yes, in reaching the great material goals of which we know we are capable. That's the easiest part of the job. But recognizing that the best fed, best clothed, best housed people in the world, that the strongest nation in the world and the richest nation in the world still will not deserve to be the hope of the world unless it has that splendid spirit, the lift of a driving dream, which meant so much to the world in 1776 and for 200 years since that time. I would conclude simply by saying that by that year, 1976, the world will be at peace. By that year, 1976, America, we trust, will find the understanding that we perhaps do not have in many quarters today. But above everything else, I would trust in that year, 1976, that more Americans can look back with pride and look to the future with hope. Hope that the opportunity that everybody in this room has had is something that is a realizable dream that can be achieved for anyone who has the good fortune to be born in this country, for anyone who has the good fortune to come to this country.
The Bicentennial Commission sees the 200th birthday of the United States as an opportunity to assess anew the principles on which the country was founded, to measure life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness today and for tomorrow, to expand the frontiers for individual fulfillment, to balance the rights and responsibilities inherent in freedom, and to celebrate the joys that life and liberty provide, and with these, to take renewed pride in the continuing American Revolution. The American Revolution Bicentennial Commission asks you what you or your organization would like to do to help make the Bicentennial a great national success. Write to the American Revolution Bicentennial Commission, Box 1976, Washington, D.C.